Hello and welcome to a complete new setup for a complete new video in a complete new flat. This is the first video I am filming that isn't a vlog in my new flat. I've been here a couple of weeks now, but I completely pre-filmed all my videos so I would be good to go whilst I was settling in. And now I have to film videos again. I don't think I can remember how. I have to get a new setup. I'm stood up rather than sat down. I don't know how this is going to work, so we're probably going to see some changing setups throughout this next couple of weeks, I would say. But today's video, because it's Halloween, happy Halloween, is going to be a vague recommendations video that is Halloween costumes as book recommendations. Bear with me, it'll work, we'll make it work. I've basically written down a list of like my top came to mind Halloween costumes. So we've got things like cat, witch, vampire, werewolf, like different things that are quite obvious Halloween costume recommendations. And then I've attached some book recommendations to them as well. So we're going to see how well this goes, because some of the book recommendation links are very tenuous and aren't really there, but some of them are. But I just wanted to recommend you some books that are kind of Halloween-y. These are all books that I think are great for this kind of season, all different types of genres, all different types of stories, but I thought I would throw the recommendations at you. I also apologise for two things. Thing one is the noise of the birds that used to be in the background of my videos has now been replaced by the noise of cars because I live fairly close to a main road, which is a little bit sad. So I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. Thing two, I do apologise that I am not dressed Halloween-y in any way, shape or form. But I don't really have anything insanely Halloween-y with me at the moment. I was going to draw like a cobweb on the side of my face, but I'm filming this on a work day and I have calls and things, and I also have someone coming to tile my bathroom, so I don't think it's going to work doing that. But I wanted to get this done now before the tiler comes so he doesn't think I'm a complete insane person, because he'll just hear me talking to myself about books. So we're going to jump right in with these recommendations. They're not going to make any sense, but you're just going to pretend they do. The first recommendation is City of Ghosts. Now this is going to fit the dress up prompt of a cat. So this recommendation is linked to cats in some way, and what is that link, I hear you ask? Well, I think on the front of the cover there you will see, when the camera focuses, a cat. That's right, a cat. Okay, this is possibly the most lazy link of all of these, but I didn't know how else to do this. This is not even about a cat, it's about a girl who can see ghosts. Her parents are ghost hunters, they moved to Edinburgh, or they're staying in Edinburgh for a bit to film a TV programme about ghost hunting, and she just sees ghosts all over the city. It's a really fun middle grade from Victoria Schwab. Oh, I can't see, I'm so out of practice. It's a fun middle grade from Victoria Schwab, who's one of my favourite authors of all time. She's fantastic. This book is fantastic. Super easy, one sitting read. Perfect for Halloween. There's a second one as well called Tunnel of Bones. It's amazing. Read them all. There's a cat on the front. Ergo, it fits my cat prompt. This also means the links can only get better from here on out, I think, maybe. So the next prompt slash costume is a witch, which in my opinion is a classic dress up idea and is like the most common dress up idea, but focus on the whole classic thing there, because then I'm recommending you Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, which is a classic. This is actually one that I'm reading at the moment. This is a classic gothic horror about a woman who goes to live with a man who is recently widowed in his house, Mandalay, and the house is not that happy that she's there because the kind of spirit away of the old wife Rebecca is still looming within the hallways, and it's about how she deals with living there when this presence of the guy's ex-wife is still very much there. So this is a very slow-paced gothic horror, I would say. There are two film adaptations out now. The original is Alfred Hitchcock. It's a black and white adaptation and I love it. And the new one has starring Lily James, and I haven't watched it yet because I want to finish the book first. So this one, Witch, a classic, boom. Then a more tenuous link. Mummy. I don't think anyone dresses as a mummy anymore, but the point of mummies is there's many layers to them and you have to unwrap them. So a book that's got many layers to it that would also fit this Halloween-y theme is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco, which I think is now out to the public. This is an advanced reader copy that I was sent through by Hot Escape. This is fantastic. It's a fantasy, it's got some thriller and murder mystery elements to it. It is about a girl whose twin sister is violently murdered and she then goes on the path of trying to find out what the hell happened. There are princes of hell in this. There's links to like the 7 deadly sins. It's really good. There's loads of layers, there's loads of things to unwrap. Cannot recommend this one enough. And yeah, obviously when I thought of Mummy, I thought of this book. Clearly, right? Wouldn't you? It's really good. Go check it out. Kerry Maniscalco is a really fantastic writer and I love the way that she weaves this story and I cannot wait for more in this series. Okay, this next one was a struggle. The next one is Zombie. Now for this, I have picked a book that came back from the dead, which I feel is offensive to say about a book, but I think it'll make sense when I show you what book I've picked, and that is The Near Witch by Victoria Schwab. Yes, the second Victoria Schwab book on this recommendations list. This is Victoria Schwab's first book, and this came back from the dead because it was recently republished. See, I'm not being rude, I'm just saying it's come back from the dead. This is about a kind of fairy tale-y myth in this small town of the Near Witch and how one of the main characters gets involved with this myth to try and find out if it's actually real or not. I will be honest and say this one is a hell of a lot slower than Victoria Schwab's other writings and I didn't enjoy this nearly as much as I did her other work. However, as a first book, to read this when you've read her other works as well, you can see how far she's come and it almost adds to my appreciation of her as a writer. So Zombie, Back from the Dead, second Victoria Schwab book on the list. Next is Pumpkin, that common, flattering fancy dress costume we all love to wear. For this, I have picked a book that is a grower because pumpkins grow, and in Cinderella they grow really big. So this is a book that I was kind of about to start with and then it grew on me. This is also a book I'm still in the middle of, so I hope it continues to grow on me. But that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling set in Shanghai in the 1920s with some fantasy elements. To be honest, when I started reading it, it felt a little stilted. However, I think that's because there was so much going on and there's like gang politics within the Romeo and Juliet storyline and also this fantasy thing and also learning about the characters with dual narratives. But now I'm in there. I'm halfway through, kind of. I'm a little bit under. Really, really enjoying it. As a retelling, I don't think I've ever read one of Romeo and Juliet before, and this one is fantastic. It's including so much diversity in it, and it's so widespread with how much it's featuring. So this is my pumpkin, a grower, because yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more now than I was to start with. I also think this is the kind of book that I have to read in chunks rather than just reading a little bit of here and there. Do you ever get a book like this? I find it's more enjoyable to read it all in one chunk. So that's how I got this far within 2 days. Then we have The Mad Scientist. I don't think anyone really dresses up as mad scientists anymore. I think it's a bit mean to call scientists mad, but you know, for the sake of the prompt, this is a book that makes you think, a book that is clever, involves your brains. And is it any surprise that I picked The Secret History by Donna Tartt for this prompt? Yes, you're sick of seeing this, I understand. It's a dark academia, which is why I've put it in here, because this is the time to read dark academias. This is about a group of college, uni students in some weird situations, stuff that they're trying to cover up, stuff that they're trying to understand, working out things about their life, also doing lots of learning with that dark academia. I don't want to go too much into the plot of this because if you don't know, I feel like it could very easily spoil the atmosphere and the way the story goes, but I would highly recommend this one if you're looking for something to really sink your teeth into, but also enjoy the kind of atmosphere the characters bring along with it as well. It's not all heavy, the characters offer some softness and some lightness and some dry humour to it. I really enjoyed it. I read it a couple of years ago and I'm kind of tempted to reread it at some point. I am very aware this one's really, really over recommended and probably to the point where people see it and just roll their eyes, so I apologise for adding this in, but what else could I think of for The Mad Scientist that was perfect for Halloween? And then I have got the devil prompt. The evil devil, Lucifer, the man himself, the fallen angel. What book did I pick for this? The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and my third Victoria Schwab book on this list. The reason I picked this is because this has a personification slash the actual devil slash a bad guy. It's just the devil, really. It's got the devil in it. And I absolutely love this book and I haven't recommended it yet because it only just came out and I haven't been able to recommend it because all my videos are pre-filmed. So this is amazing. This is about a girl called Addie LaRue who makes a deal with the devil when she is younger, well, younger, she becomes immortal when she is normal and not immortal, because she wants to get out of the situation she's in, and in exchange he basically makes her immortal but means that no one can remember her. So she lives her whole life being forgotten until somebody remembers. This crosses through so many time zones but also flips between present day, 2014, and the time zones that Addie LaRue is going through from like the 1700s upwards, I think it is. Yes, 1714 it starts and then it comes up to 2014. This is fantastic. It's amazing. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me feel a lot of things. I adore Addie, but more than that, I adore Henry, who is our main male character. It's just so good. It's so good. I will be shouting and screaming about this for a while. This is, by the way, for anyone wondering, the American edition, which I managed to get through Blackwell's. I've got the UK editions as well, but I just really like this one, so please tap this in my collection too. Then we've got Vampire, of course, and I'm not recommending you Twilight. This is a book that bites you and then you're addicted. Do you see what I did there? For that, I am recommending Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. This is titled as a seductive book by Louise O'Neill, who has blurbed it on the front. It really is. It's the kind of book that just sucks you in, the way the language is written. I think this is dark academia as well, but this is about a university that is very, very, very selective. Once you're in, you can't really leave very easily unless you really are pants, but it's kind of got this weird atmosphere around it that makes everyone want to stay. It's very strange. I can't explain it properly without going into too much spoilery detail, but it follows one character throughout her time at university. It's not too long, so it is all her 3 years, I think, in these pages, which makes it quite fast-paced in terms of the plot devices and how quickly it moves along, but you do get to know the characters really well as well, so it's not too short. I just absolutely adored this. I gave this one 5 stars when I read it, and I keep recommending it to people because I'm not seeing enough people shout about it. If you want something a little bit weird, really interesting, quite different, dark academia, Catherine House for Vampire, because it sinks its teeth in and it will not let you go. Okay, this next one is Addams Family member, which in my opinion is a very common Halloween costume. Loads of people dress up as Wednesday or Morticia, but I think it is quite a common dress-up costume, so it's not like a generic bat, cat, witch type of thing. Not that I've done bat, but anyway, bear with me, because the Addams Family are a family, so my book recommendation is a book about family as much as they are a twisted family, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I recently finished this one. It's a fantastic Gothic horror. I've seen people saying it's too slow. In response to that, I would say it's a Gothic horror. The nature of Gothic horror is to be slower. That's how it introduces that Gothic horror nature to it. This is about a girl who is sent a letter by her cousin who has been recently married to a guy that they don't know very much about, and she says she's in trouble and she's seeing things and she's not doing very well. So her cousin goes to stay with her and then realises that there's some weird stuff going on with the house, with the people, with the family inside, and she starts to unravel what the hell that is. So Mexican Gothic is my Addams Family dress up. I just love this book. I wanted to include it in there as well because just go read it. It's so fantastic. If you like Gothic horror, if you're okay with a slower but still really, really interesting and enticing read. It didn't take me long to read it, under a week, so it isn't too slow. It's just the nature of the story is a slower plot to something like a fast-paced thriller. But I absolutely loved it. I apologise in advance for throwing this next book at you in every single recommendations video I do ever. It is one of my all-time favourite books and I will not stop throwing it at you, but this is for the title costume of Werewolf, which in my opinion is a book that goes through a transformation because a person becoming a werewolf goes through a transformation. So for that I have picked The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm so sorry I keep recommending it to you, but if you haven't read it yet, this is your chance. Pick it up. It's not really that Halloween-y, but at the same time I'm throwing it in here because there is a magic-y shamanic element to it. There's fighting, it's very dark. The reason I put this book in here is because this is a trilogy, and by the end of the trilogy, this is totally different to where it started. It goes through such a transformation. It's fantastic already at this point, but when it ends you're just like, what? There's so much in here. There is so much history. There is so much politics and relationships. I don't mean like romantic, just friendships, power, struggles, magic. Oh god, there is so much. There is so much. It certainly is a werewolf. It goes through a complete transformation from when you see the characters at the start in this book to the end. Oh, in The Burning God, it's really good. Please go and read this book if you haven't already. I'm really impressed with myself because I got through that whole list before my tiling man got here. So I'm gonna wrap this up quickly before he arrives and completely ruins my ending. Hopefully you enjoyed those recommendations. As I said, there were some tenuous links in there. This isn't a tag video, but if you want to do something similar, feel free. But the fact that I'm posting this on Halloween probably means it's gonna be out of date quite quickly. But I had fun. Did you have fun? I hope you enjoyed my new setup as well. I really don't know whether I like standing or whether I'd rather be sitting. I think I'd rather be sitting because it's less painful for my back, but I haven't quite worked out where that'll be. Maybe I'll just put a chair in front of this area. I don't know. It's so nice to have loads of bookshelf space as well. But thank you for staying for my recommendations. More videos will be like in more of an actual proper order and less rushed, but this was a little bit rushed this week because, yeah, I've got people coming in and out of my flat to do work and I didn't want to seem like a complete crazy person doing this whilst they were here, and also they're very loud. So I'm just busy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, or you can comment down below letting me know what you would recommend for these insane recommendations. Or you can subscribe to see more of my face on your feed and better videos in the future, but hopefully you enjoyed this Halloween themed one, even though I didn't dress up for Halloween at all. Thank you guys so much. Keep smiling and stay positive, and happy Halloween. Ooh, oh hang on, pumpkin. Ooh.